My name is Jeff Sipe, and I have over 10 years of recruiting experience, including 5 years at Google. In this video, we're going to talk about how to research a company for a job interview. Don't stop the video. This approach I take is going to be different and will lead to greater success, I promise. We're going to focus on a few items that just aren't being covered in other articles, other videos. And lastly, remember that the information you hear, it's all about the application of that information. It's not just about doing the research, but it's how do you apply that research into thinking about how you answer questions and just your overall philosophy and approach to the interview. Stay tuned to the end because item number 5 is going to be a broad overview of all the other items that most videos and articles touch on, but I just want to make sure that we're covering everything today. So item 1 is overall verbiage. And so you are going to be looking for themes everywhere. So whether that's the company website, social media, company in the news, interviews with executives or just current employees, former employees, LinkedIn profiles, Google, Glassdoor reviews, YouTube, there is a strong likelihood that a few themes are going to pop up. And so let's go high level. I really wanted to explore Amazon in this example because there's a couple things that really pop out. So if you were to jump on and look at Amazon's mission, in the first sentence, they say customer-centric company. And then when you think about their 14 leadership principles, the first leadership principle is customer obsession. So just by looking at these two items and doing this baseline of research, you are going to target the way you answer questions in a completely different way, and you can knowingly anticipate that you're going to have examples of times where you impressed a customer, times where you went above and beyond for a customer, times where you made an upset customer happy, times where you came up with a customer strategy to enhance engagement, enhance appreciation, and strategies you might implement to make the overall customer experience better if you joined Amazon. And so again, this is just kind of scratching the surface. You would obviously want to look for more themes and more ideas, but this is a great way to get started. And instantly, just knowing that one item, you're going to have more success. Item number 2, networking. Don't spend all your time behind a computer. When you can talk to people, talk to people. It's going to have a tremendous impact. And if you're not doing some of these simple reach outs, you're missing an opportunity to learn some knowledge that you may not be able to find in other places. And so there's really 3 types of employees that I want you to be looking for. I want you to be looking at currently longer tenured employees who have had good career progression, newer employees. These are people who have probably been at the organization a year or less, and people who previously worked at the organization and have since left. So absolutely when networking, let's just jump right in and utilize LinkedIn. And so you're going to target first connections first, but a lot of times you may not have any connections at the organization, at the company. So second connections are great because you can instantly connect with them and you're going to send a personalized note. And so some of the ways that these personalized notes might look like, so for a tenured employee, Jane, your career progression at Amazon has been awesome. I have an interview next week for a technical recruiter role hiring for the cloud team. Any advice? Is there anything I can help you with? I'd love to connect. Thanks, Jeff. For a new employee, Tim, how are you enjoying working at Amazon? I'm interviewing next week, and if you have any non-proprietary advice, interview advice you can share that might help before my on-site, that would be great. Is there anything I can help you with? I'd love to connect. Thanks, Jeff. And then lastly, from a former employee, or for targeting a former employee, Barbara, I'm interviewing with Amazon next week. I see you left and have moved on to XYZ Corp. Do you have any advice for someone considering joining Amazon? And is there anything I can do to help? Regardless, I would love to connect, Jeff. So your approach is going to be a little different for each type of employee, but the messaging is the same. Can they share any advice and how can you help them? Yes, this goes a little bit away from my philosophy of always giving first when networking, but you're just looking for a tip or a trick here or there, and chances are maybe 1 or 2 people will connect with you and they're just going to give you this one little insight, and that's all you need to just add it to your arsenal to have great success. Item number 3, LinkedIn. I want to get back to LinkedIn a little bit. So I don't suggest skipping the networking piece. I think it's really important. But if you are looking at LinkedIn and it's a less comfortable space for you, the way that LinkedIn can be super beneficial is looking at trends. So what is the typical career progression for somebody in a like role? People that have recently joined, where did they come from? What company, what school did they attend? People who have left, how long did they stay? Did they get promoted in their time there, etc. In addition, when looking when people have left, where did they go? There might be a trend. So you want to look at that trend and think, wow, I maybe want to be interviewing at this company too. So really just great to look at the trends on LinkedIn. It's something that's not really being looked at, but those trends can tell you a lot of information about the company and again, help you cater your approach. Item 4 is job posts. And so this isn't about taking a closer look at the job description. I'll post that up above. I did a video on that where I do a screen share, really good to dive really heavily into the job description. But here I want to take a more generic approach. You are looking for some key items coming out of the job post to help you with your research. So if you go on a LinkedIn job post, they're going to be able to tell you amount of time it's been open, the number of applicants, etc. In addition, are you seeing like roles posted not only nationwide, but globally? Because this will tell you something about how expansive their growth is and how quickly they're growing. And so for a position that had been open, let's say 3 to 6 months, my strategy is going to be much different than a newly opened position. I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive in my tone and really trying to dig in with the interviewer and figure out why has it been open for this long and what are the other candidates missing and what is the skill that I can bring to the table that's really going to benefit them as an organization. A newer position, I might try and find out a little bit more about how urgent the hiring need is, why it came about, etc. So again, a little bit different strategy. And then if you notice explosive growth, like they're interviewing or trying to hire for 20 recruiter roles globally, then your approach is going to be with your verbiage, you're going to talk about working at a fast pace, getting quick results, making process changes to get quicker hires. You're really going to show that you can move in a quick and fast-paced working environment because clearly their growth is requiring them to hire a lot of people. Item 5 is everything else. I think most of this information is readily available in many other platforms, many other articles, but we need to cover it just to make sure that I'm covering my bases and helping everybody out and that you're hanging out for the entire video and again, that it's collectively helpful for you. So step 1 in this everything else is absolutely you want to be looking at the company website. You want to be looking at their mission, products and services, especially products. Know what new product you would create for the company, what enhancement you would make to a current product, and how you would retire an existing product. At Google, they will ask you all 3 of these types of questions. So the product item is really, really important. You also want to know how long they've been in business, locations. You want to look at testimonials from current employees, customers, and just again, the overall verbiage as we discussed. Step 2, social media. Pretty straightforward. You just want to be looking at their overall social media campaign and what they're doing in the social media space to understand their brand better. Step 3, this is really critical, in the news. So you just want to be looking at what's going on in the news, especially for bigger companies. Let's take cloud for Google, for instance. There's so much information about what's going on in the cloud space for Google. So the bigger the company, the more specific the information you can be looking at in the news, and then that can help guide some of your answers in the interview. Number 4, interviews. So now find interviews with company employees. Typically these will be with executive level people or people who have worked at the company. Just do that research. It will be really helpful to give you insight into the organization. Step 5, of course, online reviews. So you're going to type into Google, Facebook reviews or reviews of working at Facebook, and then you're going to go on Glassdoor and you're going to go on Quora. You really just want to take these steps to just find any insight that you can. Step 6, you're going to want to know the industry and competitors. So The biggest point I want to make here is know that Google is a tech company, whereas Apple is a design company, whereas Facebook is a social media company. Know the distinction, because if you're going to interview at Apple, they're going to be really curious about attention to detail and design. And so just kind of knowing the industry, yeah, they're all in tech, but there are little differentiators that are really important, and just have an idea of the competitive space. It just becomes a talking point. It's more engaging, and it shows you have knowledge of the overall space that they're in. Step 7, financials. If they're a public company, I've read some articles that say jump into their quarterly reports. I wouldn't do that. I would just hop on Google, find out their stock ticker, and look at the 3-month, 6-month, 9-month, 12-month rolling trends for their stock. If it's going down and down and down and down, that's a sign that there are some challenges. And if it's going up and up and up and up, probably a good sign that you want to jump on and join that company if you can. Step 8, hiring process. You should be asking your point of contact to learn a little bit more about the hiring process. But if there's any insight that you can find out online, it's going to be helpful. As always, I throw a lot at you. But I think if we're following the first 4 tips, they're going to be a little bit different than some of the other articles and videos. But if you focus on those 4 and then collectively the 8 steps in item 5, you're going to do fantastic. And it's not going to be a million items. It's going to be 1, 2, 3 items that just make you a little bit more prepared, a little bit more streamlined in your answers, and it's going to help you do great. Thanks. Hope this helps.